Peace. Akili Damone Height here. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about technology in general and specifically artificial intelligence. I hear a lot of talk, a lot of fear talk these days. I'm sure we've all heard it about the dangers of artificial intelligence. And no doubt, I'm sure there are some dangers. I'm not going to deny that. One of the main concerns is that artificial intelligence will become sentient, meaning it'll be aware that it exists, like we are, like we're aware that we exist. And from my understanding, yeah, that's actually a legitimate concern. However, we shouldn't look at artificial intelligence as something that's going to enslave us, something that's going to take our jobs, something that's going to compete with us. No doubt there are going to be some jobs lost. It is happening right now. As every technology displaces people, it displaces a population because with change and transformation comes new beginnings and the end of old ways of doing things. So, just as an example, some of you are old enough to remember the ATM. I know I am. When that actually became a thing, back in the day, maybe the early '80s, I would say, when it was called the Versateller. Many people were not willing to use this Versateller, this new machine. They didn't trust it. They rather go into a bank branch and talk to a teller and do their transactions by hand, which, there are inherent constraints in that, meaning that you can only get your money, make deposits, make withdrawals during banking hours, Monday through Fridays, non-holidays. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it took some people a long time to understand and to trust this technology. But now the ATM, the automatic teller machine, is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. And people use it without worry, without thinking. Obviously, it can be hacked, but there are safeguards in place. It's similar to, I'm sure, back in the day before electricity became a thing, where electricity, the alternating current, was running through everyone's homes. The average person was used to using a kerosene lamp. And I'm sure there were people that were saying that, oh no, I don't trust this electricity thing. It can burn down your house. It can shock you. It's an evil thing. And some people were like, yo, I'm gonna stick to my kerosene lamp. Even though electricity makes your home brighter, it's more convenient. Kerosene will burn down your house probably before the average electrical wiring would. But, it is a thing, it's a concern. But looking back at it today, we kind of see how ludicrous that is to think that way, right? It's so easy to flip on a light switch and flip it off to light your home. A person who is hesitant to use new technology, the term for that is called a Luddite. Luddite, Luddite, I believe that's the spelling. Do some research on the origins of that, but that goes all the way back to like hundreds of years ago, when new technologies were coming into place and they were displacing old workers for, I think they were doing like textiles type things. So you don't want to become a Luddite, because that means you're going to be left behind, because the world is moving, the world is constantly changing. Another example, that are in the majority of the people living now who are adults. You may remember, I mean, obviously, Generation Xers, baby boomers, definitely. Some millennials remember when the internet became a thing back in the early to mid 90s, specifically around 1994, when the internet started becoming commercialized. It was always around, well, not always, it was around since the 1960s, used by the military and universities and research organizations, but it didn't become available for the public until mainly widely around the early 90s. And I'm just going to use the year 1994 as a milestone date. Many people believed that the internet was evil. And maybe they had a point there because, there's some evil things that have come as a result of the internet. But the internet itself is not inherently evil. The internet is a tool. It's a medium for communications, for socialization, for commercialization, for doing business. And it makes your job and your lives more convenient and easier. So all technology it's a way to leverage science to make you more productive. So coming back to artificial intelligence, look at there are many different types of artificial intelligence, but I'm talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence, where the most specific example is ChatGPT, or a chatbot. When OpenAI released GPT 3.5 back in November, I believe it was November of 2022, obviously they had several versions prior to this, but this was the one that caught the attention of the public. So November 2022, that was, as of the time of this recording, that was less than 2 years ago. So the world has only been using ChatGPT and those type of artificial intelligence tools for less than 2 years. But when it launched, it was equivalent to maybe a toddler, right? A toddler, or a child between the ages of 18 months and maybe 3.5 years old, where it was just in a constant state of learning. You point to a window and you teach your child window, and the child like window. You pick up a bottle, you say bottle, and the child repeats bottle. Water, ball. So the child is learning by mimicking, and eventually that child is starting to synthesize the information that it's learning, and it's starting to put together these ideals, these concepts, these words, and now they're starting to string sentences together. I want water. I want to play with the ball. I want to open the window. So over maybe the first year of ChatGPT, it grew exponentially, or at an accelerated pace, from being a toddler to maybe being a pre-teenager. So a pre-teenager, a 10, 11, 12-year-old, at this point, they have their own personalities. They've developed their own personalities prior to this, but they are starting to kind of understand who they are, and they are starting to form their own opinions about things. They are losing the ideas of these myths, these fables that parents have told them, like, for example, the belief in Santa Claus, the belief in the tooth fairy, because they kind of understand, like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. So they're becoming to come into their own. So flash forward 2 years, artificial intelligence is approximately the age of a teenager graduating from high school. So at this point, that AI now has a driver's license, now has maybe possibly has a car, possibly has their first job. They're preparing to go to the prom. They are interested in dating. They're applying to college. They may be even getting accepted to college. They may be even preparing to go to college. So that's the level that AI is at this moment. It definitely is almost considered an adult. AI is advancing at such a rapid pace. It is definitely displacing people in their jobs. It's changing, it's transforming the way businesses are doing business, and it's not going away. So what are you going to do about it? I've talked about keeping up with the curve in the past. This curve is accelerating at such a quick pace. You have to change with it, or you're going to be left behind, just point blank. So, and I'm talking to myself too, I am constantly in the process of learning, relearning, synthesizing information, forming my own opinions. So we can look at how AI learns things. They take large language sets of data, or large sets of data. They ingest this data and they connect dots and they form new opinions. We are not based on AI. AI is patterned after us. It's patterned after the way the human brain works. And this human brain, as we've been told for most of our lives, is always been alluded to, we use less than 10% of our brain capacity. And it's probably close to less than 5% on average. So how can we tap into this other approximately 90 to 95%? One way to do it is constantly reading, constantly learning. It's okay to surf the internet, surf through social media, but do it in a purpose-driven way. Why are you surfing the internet? Are you looking for entertainment? Or are you looking for information to gather, to connect these dots, to synthesize this data so that you can create something new? The way we should look at artificial intelligence, not as our bosses, not as our competition, but we should look at them as our assistants. If you have an assistant, if you have someone who works for you, and let's just say they are smarter than you, they still work for you. So you're going to help them. You're going to assign the heavy lifting to them. Yo, handle this, do this analysis, get back to me. Once they get back to you, now what are you going to do with that information? It's up to you now to leverage that information into something greater, or to connect that information with something else and keep society moving forward. So I just want to put people's minds at ease, because there's a lot of change going on right now. Obviously, AI has impacted. I mean, it's changing at this moment, every day, every moment of the day. And how should we react to that change? We should be inspired to continue to move forward and to tap into our innate abilities as human beings and this brilliant mind that we have. Keep it pushing forward, because as science has proven, you can make yourself smarter. Intelligence is not fixed. These synapses, they connect. Even though brain cells die and they die daily, it's not the brain cells, it's your connection between those brain cells and the synapses and the way those brain cells communicate with each other that matters, that makes you smarter. Can you, if you are a certain age, let's just say over the age of 18, over the age of 25, you've accrued so much information in your life. Not to mention if you're over the age of 50, you have so much information, so much experience that you've accrued over your life. That's like myself. I have so much. I've learned so much about technology that I've forgotten more than most people will ever know. And I'm not bragging. It just is what it is. I go through some of my old notes and I'm like, damn, I forgot about this. I forgot that I even knew this. I forgot that I created a project back in when I was getting my master's degree back in 2001, 2002 to create an online shopping cart for e-commerce. This was before Shopify and all these e-commerce applications. We built out an e-commerce system from scratch using Java. And I still have my portfolio of notes, and I completely forgot about that. And so I was kind of looking through this. I was like, damn, yeah, I did this. So my point is, the average person has forgotten more information than they realize. And in some cases, they've forgotten more information about a particular subject than most people will ever even know. So what are you going to do? Use technology, use artificial intelligence to leverage your knowledge and to create new things. Because there's nothing new under the sun, but the way we connect dots and the way we put things together, we can look at things differently. Like Steve Jobs in Apple had the slogan that said, think different. It's up to you to think different. Because this is a day and time that is not going backwards. I'm sorry to tell you. We're only moving forward. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you all for watching. Stay motivated, stay blessed, and above all, stay lucid. Peace out.